Ladies and gentlemen, we are now gathered to induct the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And before I induct maybe the most hardcore member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, boy, I'm going to certainly get some Hiroshimas dropped on me. I can assure you I'll make up for that. But maybe in a way, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, I should have put in about 5 or so months ago because after all, I won't even go there. I won't even mention the match, who it was. But obviously, in many ways, he did kind of remind me about who wrestled him, and I'll certainly leave that at that for the peanut gallery. But in many ways, though, all kidding aside, when I think about our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, truly speaking, though, when you think about hardcore and deathmatch wrestling over the past few years and several years where it's really kind of taken into its hold and it's established a massive following, and we've acknowledged it here on Sportswire Radio. Our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, you might want to say, was hardcore before the likes of, well, let's say hardcore. Another guy, a New York standout. The likes of Mikey Anarchy. The likes of Jimmy Controversy across the river in New Jersey. Across the other side of the world, the likes of Necro Daddy. Radu Bulat. Obey. Kato, who's been here, the Deathmatch Werewolf, Mac 10, and there's no question that those guys have certainly been extremely hardcore, and they've pretty much shown why they are where they are. Jesse Daniels, I'll throw that out there, Brian White. I mean, a long list of hardcore stars that have come on this platform here over the past 6 or 7 months, but our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame was putting the H in hardcore, kind of like his last name, all the way back in 1998. Yes, it was 1998. And people were wondering if Bill Clinton was going to be thrown out and impeached. 1998, we were in the throes of the Attitude Era. 1998, for the second time, Michael Jordan had retired from the NBA. The craze was Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney Spears. And Stefan Havok was maybe hitting people more than one more time. And that was kind of how he got his start out there. And you've seen the home footage, the tapes, and whether it was an EHW in his own community, Stefan Havok maybe was an innovator. Maybe he was an originator, and maybe he was an icon before all of us even knew it. You've seen all the things that Stefan Havok has done. You know, ladies and gentlemen, there are many people that come onto this platform, and rightfully so. They come onto this platform and they say why they're the best, why they're the greatest, why they've done every single thing that puts them out and makes them stand out. But Stefan Havok, kind of in many ways, he doesn't do things with his words. He does it with his actions. Whether it's been in the RWA and his return to the ring, and WZW, and a whole list of other places that he's called home and made pit stops in. Stefan Havok is one of those guys, in many ways, kind of with the old expression that Teddy Roosevelt used to famously say, walk tall and speak quietly, but have a loud stick. And he figuratively uses a lot of sticks, a lot of loud sticks, and maybe glass, maybe tables, maybe jumps off roofs, and pretty much will do anything. How about bats with barbed wire? Certainly, there have been individuals that may say they're hardcore and have participated in matches, but stick to the profession. They do those things. Watch them. Stefan Havok has been doing that, and maybe he made his biggest presence felt this past Friday in NEW Underground Wrestling's Riot in the Ring, which I have said for my money is the greatest underground wrestling spectacle in history. 15 companies all across the United States have called this event their home and tried to test their skills to see ultimately who will be that Riot in the Ring. But Stefan Havok, without saying anything, without even winning, pretty much called his shot, and he hit it out of the park, and he might have even hit himself out of the park, and I'm sure I'll talk about that later on. But the facts are, ladies and gentlemen, Stefan Havok is one of these guys that doesn't have to boast about the fact I've got 8 Hall of Fames under my resume. He beat that guy already. We're not going to show that match tonight. I promise you, we won't show that match. Shout out, though, to that guy, because he is in our Hall of Fame, and he's doing very well. I wish him nothing but love. But the facts are, he doesn't need to say he's got 50 championships or 49, or how many does Jake Matthews have? Again, he's probably in the chat. He'll remind me. Or 26 championships or 21 championships. Stefan Havok goes out there in many ways. He's a throwback. He's a throwback to those that have the spirit of figuratively and literally all wrestling matters without even knowing it. Stefan Havok is one of these guys that I would like to say, in the famous words of Hillbilly Tilly, who was the only general manager to be in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. True wrestlers, but true yarders, do it for the love of wrestling and also put their blood, sweat, and tears. I would probably venture to say, ladies and gentlemen, that Stefan Havok has probably lost more blood, maybe than any hardcore wrestler that's come on this platform. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Yes, we've had Jimmy Controversy. Yes, we've had Mikey Anarchy. Yes, we've had Hardcore. Yes, Mac 10. Yes, we've had Obey. Yes, we've had Gabe Sayers, who was actually in the Riot in the Ring. We've had a whole list of other fantastic hardcore talents. But Stefan Havok has been in this game on and off since 1998. And he's very well about to play his best role yet. And in many ways, ladies and gentlemen, maybe he is the most hardcore member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And there's another pretty cool feat that Stefan Havok doesn't even know he's about to achieve tonight, because there's a long list of members in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Mr. Havok has reminded me of that in the past, and I appreciate Mr. Havok's friendly reminders, and some other people have said that as well, but in different ways. But Mr. Havok, I happen to like and appreciate, because I've gotten to know him actually before a lot of other people got to know him, I think, in his reboot. But Stefan Havok is actually officially the first New York-born wrestler to be in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Yes, his opponent is in the Hall of Fame, but he's from believe it or not, New York, right? The Empire State. My home state. You would think, right? We would have had a New York-born wrestler in the Hall of Fame by now. But in many ways, Stefan Havok is what the true definition of what the first New York wrestler in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame should be. Because when we think about our home state, even though he's from a different part of the state, and I'm from downstate, he's from upstate, but New Yorkers at the end of the day still carry many of the same tendencies. Blue collar, hardworking, never give up. If the going gets rough, keep going. And Stefan Havok is all of those things. He is the true definition of a New Yorker. Whether we're upstate or downstate, we're all bonded by those same traits. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't think of a better New Yorker to be the first New York wrestler in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. But maybe I couldn't also think of maybe a better hardcore wrestler to be in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, to have that conversation. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's guys like Stefan Havok that need to get more of our recognition, more of our attention and respect. Because it's guys like him that create the opportunities for guys that'll certainly go on, that are in the Riot in the Ring, and in many other places, to go out and do bigger and better things. And I think in many ways, I also couldn't think of a better person tonight to be with and induct into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame than Stefan Havok, because, as I'm sure you're aware of, if you're a fan of NEW Underground Wrestling, it is actually NEW Underground Wrestling Month here, an honoring of the Riot in the Ring, which is truly, in many ways, doing what all in the wrestling community should be. It's just getting the best from anywhere, any promotion, any state, any type of wrestling, and just see who's the very best. No politics, none of the same old stuff, none of the toxicity that you hear about in the backyard, the underground of the indies. Just putting everybody in one setting and just seeing who's the best. Almost in many ways, Stefan Havok, since you're a New Yorker like me, it reminds me of my growing up in New York City when I was growing up playing basketball and other sports, where we would go out on a beautiful day like today and just go out and see who's the best on the playground, who's the best on the diamond, who'd be the best on the football field. Whatever it was, there was no politics. There was no, hey, I'm better than that person. I look a certain way. I'm friends with somebody. It was basically, you went out, you had your Gatorade, your quarter drink. Yes, quarter drinks were a thing once upon a time. Whatever it was, and you went outside. Maybe you took a break. Maybe you didn't. But you went out and just to show who's the best. And everybody came off at the end of the day and shook hands and said, see you later. And the Riot in the Ring, in many ways, goes back to those humble beginnings that I had. And I hope that everybody, as a wrestling fan, has had, which has put us together, because the wrestling community is one. We are all one at the end of the day. And NEW Underground Wrestling is doing something very special. And I know, ladies and gentlemen, as your master of ceremonies, the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, the Promo Wrestling Federation, and one of the co-owners of the Pride Wrestling Federation, I have no doubt that the Riot in the Ring will only be the start of something groundbreaking, revolutionary, that we'll be talking about for years and years to come. And ladies and gentlemen, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame is all about those things. You know, I can go on and on and on further about our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. After all, he's an icon. He probably wants me to, after all, kind of to make up for some of the things in the past, but I'm only kidding. I mean, but after all, I am sure that you might want to hear from our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, because he's actually a part of a trivia question also. In addition to being the first New York wrestler in our Hall of Fame, he was in the first ever NEW Underground Wrestling Riot in the Ring main event. He would like to talk about that. I think it's time to give him that opportunity. But before I do that, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to induct the 9th member of our 8th class in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame and the 79th member, the icon, Stefan Havok. But before Stefan Havok is dead and before he certainly gets to formally be inducted into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, it is time to give him that introduction, that Hall of Fame-like introduction, that the likes of the best in the card, Jake Matthews, have gotten. The likes of D'Angelo LaFlame, who was also there. The likes of Gabe Sayers, who was also there. And maybe even the guy that he wrestled once upon a time last year in a promotion called the RWA. Yes, C2K has gotten. So it's time to give him that Hall of Fame-like introduction on prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only place where all wrestling matters. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to officially induct Stefan Havok into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame and give him now that introduction that you, he, and I have long been waiting for. So, with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show, the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, the 9th member in our 8th class, and the 79th member. His name is the God, Stefan Havok. Congratulations, my friend. You're the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I rather enjoyed how red your face got doing that. So
you know what's funny? I think the last couple of them, people are wondering, like, is he going to blow up finally? And I think some people might want me to. There was one member of the Hall of Fame who doesn't want to be in the Hall of Fame anymore, and he's upset. I'm not even going to go there. But I think there are some people that would love for me to blow up like a helium balloon. My old analogy is it's almost like the famous singer of Rush, Geddy Lee. When he used to start out, he would almost balloon like a helium balloon when he would yell all those things like Bastille Day. You probably come out to Bastille Day and Farewell to Kings and 2112, whatever it was, but maybe that'll happen one day. But obviously one day is a good day because you are here on June 16, 2024, Father's Day weekend, Father's Day itself. And Stefan Havok, I'm going to start things off kind of nice and easy before maybe we go into glass, tables, chairs, barbed wire, who knows what else in between. ask you the formal question. And what does it mean to you to be the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, and also actually the first New York wrestler to actually be in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame?
Oh, that's pretty cool. I that surprises me. I honestly think that like maybe you should go through your stuff and.
No, I know who's born, and actually most of the wrestlers that we've had, obviously C2K was born in Puerto Rico. So obviously, that's a different discussion. He's obviously from New York as well, but actually
no,
somebody's from New York. You're the first one, actually.
That's really cool. I feel like more New Yorkers should be inducted. There's a lot of guys out here that are, pretty fantastic. So.
Oh, I'd like to get him in. I think it's just a matter of timing. It's just a matter of, I have New Yorkers. I have a basketball player who actually played in the NCAA Final Four, which is a pretty massive accomplishment, Danny Burns. But I think in a lot of ways it's kind of fitting, because I do think a lot of the traits of a New Yorker, even though you're from upstate, I'm from downstate, I still think we as New Yorkers carry those same traits. And that's why I think it's really fitting that you are the newest member and the first one from New York in the Hall of Fame. Because I think in a lot of ways what you've done, you blazed a trail without really knowing it. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that have been on this platform that are certainly very hardcore, but you were doing it before almost any of them were. And I think that's a testament to your character and your comeback here in this run that you've had. And I think that in a lot of ways you deserve to be here. And I actually did want to induct you a while back. And I think it's kind of over time, we kind of, think about it. And I'm glad to have you here. And I think that, you're very worthy, because a lot of things, what people do, you've done it without talking. You've done it really from your work. And I don't think wrestling is about wins and losses. I think wrestling is about what you set out to achieve. And you figuratively and literally caused a riot and caused some havoc. And I'm going to talk about that. But that's why you're here in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And it's very fitting to have you literally right after the riot in the ring.
No, I really do appreciate it. It's an honor, Speaking of the riot in the ring, my opponent, probably one of the best wrestlers I've ever been in the ring with. Absolutely amazing at, what he does in and out of the ring. So like, I just want to give like all the props to King Shock.
Absolutely. We're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to definitely get into that for sure.
I've been in the ring with a lot of people through a lot of different years and stuff like that, but it's just, there was like a certain like professionalism there, a certain everything about it. Like, he's by far one of the best I've ever been in the ring with.
That says a lot, because you've been around a long time. I mean, you've wrestled a lot of guys. You've seen a lot. You're not one of these guys that's just been on the scene, has been here a couple of years. Like, you're a war horse. For you to say something like that, I think that's a big deal.
No, I mean, I think it's a big deal. I mean, I hope he knows like how good he really is,
And I think that we're getting a chance to see a lot of people, and that's why obviously we're going to talk about the match. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about a lot, but that's really why I think the riot in the ring is so important, because it's actually giving people opportunities that maybe they wouldn't have got a chance, or people wouldn't have been able to give them their flowers. And I think that in a lot of ways, everyone's talking about Summer Bash right now. We're all excited about it. July 5th to July 7th. It's doing a lot to bring people together. But the Riot in the Ring has 15 companies, guys from all over the place. Doc Holliday, the legendary Doc Holliday, just was on GTS. Gabe Sayers, just in the main event a couple of weeks ago against Grimm. He's in a storyline with, Grimm's new wife. I mean, you have people, D'Angelo the Flame. All I do is think about D'Angelo the Flame. The point is, not in that way, but in terms of wrestling and on this platform, there's a lot of great people here that, we're getting a chance to see that we wouldn't have otherwise. And I think that's a testament not only to Jake Matthews and Justin Abel Sane, obviously the people in charge of NEW, but all the companies that said, you know what? Yeah, I believe in this. I believe in the community because, a lot of people a lot of times say, oh, the wrestling community in the backyard in the underground. Ah, it's all toxic. Ah, he said, but this is an event that has 15 companies, people from all over the place, and they came together and said, you know what? Yeah, I want to just see who's the best. No more politics, no more the same old, same old. And I think that's a testament not just to Jake and Justin, but to your company, who you represent, and really everybody out there. And I think that, to me, that's why we have it as NEW Underground Wrestling Month. And that's just something that I think I want to point out.
No, that's like really cool. And like, as you were saying, like, listen, there are toxic yards out there. There sure
Oh,
is.
for sure, it's come out to fruition on this platform because
But
we've called out some of it, but it's 80% of it's not that.
there's also yards that there's just groups of people that love wrestling that get together.
Absolutely,
They put
absolutely.
on fucking great shows, and that's where I want to be, and that's the kind of atmosphere that is growing, and it's growing bigger than the toxic, bigger than.
Oh, and 100%. And I gotta be honest, we've known each other a while, and I started covering, pro wrestling first. British independent wrestling was where I cut my teeth, and I love British independent wrestling. We'll bring it back on the platform next week. We have some things planned. We're doing a tribute for a little girl, unfortunately passed away. We're putting her in the Hall of Fame. But you know what? I think in the backyard, the spirit of wrestling lives here. To me, this is where the spirit lives. This is where you get to see a community being formed. Again, I love wrestling in the pros. I love WWE. I love AEW. I love the independents. I'm not going to sit here and really talk about it in a negative way. But to me, this is where the community starts. It reminds me, like I said, growing up in New York, being on the playground, playing basketball, being on the baseball diamond, playing baseball. And I think that we don't honor that enough. And I think that here in the backyard, in the underground, this is where the spirit of wrestling and all wrestling matters lives.
I agree. I think that it's just the amount of growth that's happened and the amount that I've seen you accomplish as well, like with it all, like just promoting.
Yeah, we spoke. We first met like 16 or 17 months ago. You think about where it was, when we were talking, and like the knowledge that where we are now,
A different platform altogether, honestly.
Oh my God, it was only Facebook, no lights. There was no anything. There was no anything. And here you are. We got 8, 9 lights. We have new banners. We have a website. We have 2 other YouTube channels, another Instagram page. It's become like a thing. I mean, I get messages from people, no joke, that I don't even know. I mean, it was, when we spoke, it was really, John Jackson saying, I'd like you to speak to somebody, because, it was really like, there was no, like, I was really asking people. Now at this point, it's like, it's a big deal, honestly, to be here.
As it should be. So.
Yeah. Well, you definitely deserve that, and I want people to follow NEW. I also want people to follow another promotion, which I'm going to get to shortly in a few minutes. I want to play that match, but I want to obviously put something up here on the screen for the audience, obviously to recognize you for all the great things that you have done here for us in the community, and it's long overdue. And I definitely, you are correct about a lot of things months ago. So let me put it on the record and say, yeah, you were right. I won't get into some of those things. I think you kind of know what I'm talking about, but let me try to make up for it as much as I can by giving you this, my friend, because officially you are the 79th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. As a matter of fact, we were actually a few minutes late because I was trying to fix my John Hancock, my signature. I wanted to give you my best signature yet, so I hope that this will be a nice little token of appreciation. I want to thank you for all that you've done in the community. It's guys like you that gave, in a way, us to be able to continue this, and all the things you've done in this sport. And I just want to say, thank you for everything that you've done.
Thank you for that. No, it's really special. I really appreciate that.
No, you definitely deserve it. Obviously, you definitely have put the work in, and that's really what it's about. And I think that the riot news we're going to talk about here again in about 2 minutes, really, it does put all of that out there. This is an event, I can't stress enough, that is putting people together that otherwise would not have. I mean, thinking about it, you're a New York guy, you went to Massachusetts. We had LaFlame, who's from Tennessee. We had people from Pennsylvania. We had people from just all over the Northeast. and from different promotions that win here. And I think that speaks, so many volumes. And I can't thank everybody enough. And I want people to obviously recognize Stefan Havok. As a matter of fact, I'd like people to follow Stefan Havok. As a matter of fact, I've actually got a link for you for those that are listening and watching on Sportzwire. A very simple way how we'll start things off nice and easy, how you can follow Stefan Havok. As a matter of fact, you can check him out on Instagram. He's on Instagram and YouTube. You got the links right up there. So you can see all of that before we go into some other current events. That's his info. Please support him. He is certainly a part of the community. He's a part of the movement. So let's support those that support us. So let's make sure we do that. They're very simple, right to the point. That's Stefan's Instagram. So we'll keep that up for a few minutes before I come back to, obviously, the match itself. But, okay, so obviously before we get into that, let's talk about the riot in the ring. In a general, from your vantage point, you've done a lot. You've seen different things. Talk to me about this experience that you just witnessed and being in the riot in the ring, and just what did it mean to you?
It was just a really, really great experience. There was no drama. There was no BS. It was just wrestling, and it was just really cool to be up front for it all. Like, just to be able to, like, not be a wrestler for a second, just to sit back and watch, you know what I mean? Just a lot of great matches, a lot of amazing people. I really felt comfortable there, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, I didn't feel like out of place. I just felt really comfortable there. I only knew a couple people. Going into the match and stuff like that, like I said, I have all the respect in the world for my opponent, King Shock. But I did want to test him because he's.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. We're going to definitely even put the match up in a different way.
Not a hardcore wrestler at all.
No, and you could see it, and great job on commentary. I guess we kind of know who it is. I don't know if you want to know, but the point is that he had a completely different background from you. And, have you been in a match like that before, wrestling someone who's almost, I guess, like the 360 opposite of you? Like, it's very, very fascinating in that sense.
Well, honestly, like, in my opinion, the best hardcore wrestlers are wrestlers that can handle a regular match first. Like, you got to be able to, like, wrestle regular matches before you start those things involved. Now, there are a lot of hardcore wrestlers that never really go that route, and they just do the stuff, the shock factors and the whatnots. But the best hardcore wrestlers, the best deathmatch wrestlers, are wrestlers that know how to technical wrestle. They know wrestling moves. They know how to work the ring. They know how to, you know what I mean? And I just wanted to push him for fun. Like, I've known him for a while. We've been in 2 matches together, but we barely, like, the first match that we were in together, it was in WZW. We didn't even make contact with each other. And then there was a 4 versus 4 match where it was very, very minor, the stuff that we did. So this was literally the first time I met him one-on-one. And I wanted to push him. I wanted to push him in the hardcore sense, for sure.
I'm curious in that because you're familiar with him, but you haven't touched in a ring with him, like, per se, at that level. Do you think that added to the match, and the fact that you're going up against a guy that, you know him, but you really haven't wrestled him? We see this all the time. Well, guys have wrestled somebody, or, they've been in the ring with them in multiple occasions in a tag match or whatever it is. But did that add to the flavor of the match?
Maybe a little bit. Like, there was, like, a little bit of history there, like, we knew of each other. Like, he's from Buffalo, I'm from Saratoga, but we knew each other. We've come in contact with each other very minorly. But I think, I don't know. I think it was going to be a decent match, even on accident. Like,
well, you were here like about 2 months ago. I mean, we knew, like, you basically kind of told us without telling us, in a way, what was in store. I mean, you are poetic. Like I said, you really just without saying anything, basically told us what you were going to do. But in a way, I guess that may be what makes for sometimes the best matches. I tend to think sometimes that's where creativity comes in play. And I think that that's, why it was so fascinating to see a guy, again, some of these matches that we watched, like Jake Matthews and Tyson Spade, even though they don't really have history, but they work in the same company. So they know each other in a way, right? Like LaFlame and Leonidas, they're similar, but they don't know each other. So like in a way, we're kind of
that was a great match.
Oh, I mean, LaFlame is on another level right now. I mean, LaFlame, but that's, I'll get to that. I'll give you a thought or two on that for sure. But my point was that there were some matches that, like, okay, it made sense, but maybe in a way, what added to the flavor of the match, just again going back to, is that you're known for a certain way of wrestling, and he's known for a different way of wrestling, and sometimes that makes for the best match. I go back all the time to, Mick Foley says his best match of his career isn't Undertaker, Hell in the Cell. It's actually Shawn Michaels' Mind Games, 1996. Why is that? Because, well, Shawn Michaels is a completely different wrestler than Mankind. You look at all the time, Kevin Nash talks about his best matches in his career were with Bret Hart. Well, why? Because Bret Hart was a different wrestler, a different type of wrestler. And sometimes you take matches with guys that may be a different style, it brings out the best in a wrestler. And I think we saw in the match you had, there was a lot of things that I'm sure people are going to be talking about. And you basically, like I said, figuratively and literally created a riot and created some havoc.
Yeah, I agree. I think it bring out the best.
Yeah, I know it's a Sunday night. Trust me, I understand.
It brought out the best in King Shock. I'm sure, for sure. Like,
I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about that.
I was too focused on cutting them up and hurting them and doing stuff, and I honestly didn't expect him to really dive into that, you know what I mean? And he did. And kudos to that, for sure.
But that goes out to a wrestler sometimes in a style, right? You're bringing out the best in them. You're going out there and doing things that, they don't always explore. And I think that that's why the match, and that's why, again, though, I can't stress this enough, as we're about to put at least the YouTube link up before we put up a different version of the match. But at the very least, that's what it brings out the best in people. At the end of the day, that's what wrestling's about, bringing out the best in people. And I'd like people, actually, before I go into some comments, because a lot of people do want to say hello to you. And also, we're joined right now on the Promo Wrestling Federation YouTube page and the Pride Wrestling Federation Extra YouTube page. So thank you to all of them who are about to join us here shortly. And there is the NEW's YouTube page, and they're almost at 2,000 subscribers. So they're almost there. Let's help them get to 2,000. I'm almost at 1,000. Hit the sub button for me. I'm about 200 some odd behind. I mean, so if I get 1,000, I get an NEW tattoo. So I know it's going to take me some time, but still help me get there. But most importantly, help NEW get there, because this is a wonderful company. And I couldn't agree with you more. I have a lot of companies come on this platform, but they're such a great group of people, and I want to give them their support. I want to give them their flowers, because this is a company, like you said, all the things you're saying, I hear from everybody. And that's what people are fed up with. They're fed up with the same old politics, the same old people that just want to be in their own bubble. This group is definitely the complete opposite of that. Please support them. Let me get to some comments here first. Couldn't agree more. Congratulations, Stefan Havok. I agree with our friends over at NEW. Zilla is here. Zilla usually says hello and says the same thing. So we say thank you, Zilla, for tuning in. Jake Matthews, who's also in the Hall of Fame, gives you a hearty congratulations. And that wasn't quite what Jake looked like in round one, but maybe we'll see in future rounds coming up. And also, hello, Zilla. D Savage is here. What was your impressions on D Savage, by the way? Because D Savage, I mean, he's a guy that I hear through the grapevine could be testing his skills in some other places. Hopefully my connection didn't burn a bridge. What do you think about D Savage, by the way?
He's amazing. I enjoyed watching him, for sure.
Is he as big as he looks in real life with those muscles and tattoos?
Did you watch the first match in the riot?
I did. I watched the whole thing. I actually stopped what I was doing and watched it. Yep.
that was like amazing, insane. But yeah,
This is what he does. I've watched him in the ring quite a bit the last few months. He goes up against Power Surge. He goes up against Tyson Spade, and he just goes out there. I mean, the guy is just he just has something about him. He's definitely got something about him, and he says you're the real deal. Yeah, I mean, I think that real recognizes real, I suppose. But yeah, D Savage, and I think it's so fascinating. By the way, real quick, that D Savage is wrestling D'Angelo the Flame in a lot of ways. I'm sure I'll be talking about that next week with both gentlemen, basically a Q. But in a lot of ways, I think they're kind of, to me, I watch a lot of wrestling, right? You've obviously chided me in that in the past in a friendly way. But there are certain wrestlers that come on here and, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. But like D Savage right now and D'Angelo the Flame, for my money, are pound for pound, maybe the two best wrestlers I see in the backyard and the underground. Not much in like hardcore, but just overall, what these guys are bringing to the table. You got the energy of D'Angelo the Flame. You got basically what D Savage brings, and he's only been doing it for a short time relatively in the ring. He was their rookie of the year last year. He was the world champion for 2 minutes and 36 seconds, albeit, but it's fascinating to see what happens between D Savage and D'Angelo the Flame, because I think right now, for my money, pound for pound, they might be the two best wrestlers in the backyard and the underground.
that's the main event quality match right there. That's
Absolutely. And all the matches, listen, and I said it, by the way, every match that was on round one, and I'm sure every match going forward is main event, and I'm glad somebody in the commentary.
As it tightens up, it's literally like just main event quality, main event quality. It's insane how the talent that were there.
Oh, for sure. This is what it's about. You want to see the best go up against the best. That's how it was done back in the day. That's how it was done. If we're wrestling fans, we always dreamed about, right? You started wrestling in 1998, right? And people used to always talk about, well, I'd love to see Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestle Goldberg. I would love to see Sting wrestle The Undertaker. I would love to see Diamond Dallas Page wrestle Triple H. People wanted to see the best wrestle the best, and we're getting that chance right now in the Riot in the Ring, and that's why you need to hit that sub button on their YouTube page. And he found his home here at NEW. I'm gonna get to that in a little while, but I'll certainly say hang on tight. And Havok looks like are you having an energy drink right now?
No, water.
Oh, okay. I need to drink more water because all I do these days is drink soda because I'm always tired. I want to say hello to one of our recent fans and who also wrestles well, Mr. Comatose. And Comatose, I will be hitting that sub button for you on YouTube shortly. I apologize if I didn't. I was actually trying to listen to your show before I came on the air, but I couldn't find the link. I messaged you on Instagram, so thank you for giving me the link. I'll make sure to catch up on your shows. Comatose has become a big fan, and he does a lot of things also in the community. I'm going to bring him on next month to Sportswire Radio, so thank you very much. Yes, that's the name I'm talking about. Yes, that is the name. I'm going to certainly say we're trying to turn a new leaf on that. I don't think you're going to do my intro. I think that you don't want to ruin your voice, and you do enough already, putting your body through glass bottles and, barbed wire and broken tables, let's say that. Havok has a very creative mind inside and outside of the ring. I look forward to sharing the ring with him one day. Eyes, should I save that thought for you? Should I save that, you think? Save that for a little while from now?
Like anything can happen, really.
Well, maybe I should save that actually after I watch the match because I actually want to put it up here on the screen because I'm going to do that shortly. And we're going to first of all do that. Actually, as a matter of fact, let me give out a plug because I promised to give a quick plug before I put your match because actually I'm going to do it right now because I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Comatose. Since you're watching this, Comatose, today's your lucky day. You've actually won a lottery ticket because if you haven't yet followed Comatose, go out and give him a follow on YouTube. He's got 545 subscribers. He might be one of the GOATs of backyard wrestling. I'm not sure who is the GOAT at this point, but I'm going to say that you're definitely a GOAT listener of Sportswire Radio at the moment. So hit that sub button for Comatose. I just did. You'll get 2 more subs when I'm off the air, Comatose, because I have the Promo Wrestling Federation YouTube page, the Pride Wrestling Federation YouTube page. So that's your lucky day. And that's Comatose. He is one true GOAT. I think there's many GOATs, but I'll certainly say thank you for your support. And I'm looking forward to having you on this platform. But my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. And we are now, right now, on Sportswire Radio. We are here with the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. That is Stefan Havok. Actually, the first New York wrestler into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. You can also check him out right here. He's on Instagram at Havok Icon. He's also on YouTube, Stefan Havok. Please support him, and also NEW for all the great things they are doing in the community. If you want to listen to us anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, we are on sportswireradio.org. We are an internet radio station. We play talk, we play music, we play podcast, we simulcast these shows in case for whatever reason you don't want to see my long hair, you don't want to see my mutton chops or my usual wrestling shirt. You can tune into us anytime. We have a great roster of shows, and I would hope that you support them. We'll be live here at 9 o'clock Eastern Time or a little after with Big Tex of DBW. He's a part of the group Chaos Conspiracy, and he'll have a lot to say, and I'm going to talk to him about that and some. So we'll be with him in a little while, but right now we are here with the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. That is Stefan Havok, the icon himself. And I'm going to take this off the screen because I'm going to put something else also up, which I am very excited to put up here for those that are listening and watching. I have to find it here first, which I should have it. And there we go. Bada beam, bada boom. There's my New York accent coming into play. But before I do anything, let's give a plug. I want to give a quick plug, actually, first of all, to our friends who've allowed us to share some of the footage here. And it is over at House of Misfits Entertainment. They're on Instagram, home_backyard wrestling 22, YouTube, home BYW 22. So we're going to make sure we put them up on Instagram as well shortly. But we're going to put the match up, Stefan, your version of it. I'm going to certainly be excited to see it.
My personal edit.
And also want to say thank you to, obviously, Jake and Justin for allowing us permission. I want to say thank you to them. We really want to say thank you to them because they're allowing it. So I want to make sure thank you to them. Also, House of Misfits. I want to thank them both for their support. Obviously, that's when both parties come together to make a difference. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put it right up here on the screen for those that are listening and watching. For whatever reason, you want to see a different version of Stefan Havok and King Shock, we're going to do that right now. So you want me to put the commentary on or keep the commentary up?
Commentary's great.
Oh, well, some people want to hear my voice, but I'm going to let the commentary here do it. Here we go.
And ladies and gentlemen, for those who haven't been watching NEW, we've been hacked a few times recently by this man coming out right now from New York.
It's definitely your edit.
Stefan Havok. He's a known deathmatch hardcore wrestler. And now he's making his NEW debut here at Riot Ring.
You got the nice bleach remix for a theme right there. Here comes Stefan Havok. Man, that single-handedly forced me to buy a new firewall for NEW.
That was a good one, Justin.
And we all know that he is used to the hardcore style. I mean, look in the ring. You see barbed wire chairs already. You see a thumbtack chair as well. But we know that King Shock, his opponent, isn't a hardcore guy. However, here he comes. King Shock. We have not seen him since the same show that we last seen Onyx, Insanity Calamity 2019. But Shock wrestled Joseph Gemini, was able to pin him for the United States title, but the match was then restarted right after the fact, where Gemini was able to beat him to regain the United States title.
That's right. Both of them going one win on each other.
I think
all it took was one match for it. King Shock's bringing a lot of energy right now to the crowd.
King Shock does have experience with guys who used to be a part of NEW. He wrestled guys like Joseph Gemini, as I mentioned, Jamie Tylers. I mean, you think about how many people King Shock faced. You name it. He has faced a lot of people in the backyard.
King Shock's got one hell of an acronym backing him right now. Years of experience, and it's showing.
King Shock is a fan favorite here in NEW.
On a personal note, it's good to see him again. Good to see the homeboys down here.
You know, quick shout out to House of Misfits Entertainment Wrestling, who allowed King Shock, Onyx,
Trademark Shock right there. His little warm up
to be here.
Now underway.
Interesting start to the match here, I thought. But very interesting.
The corner.
Unlike what I would have.
I believe these two might have wrestled each other in other promotions. Oh my God.
That's like a
misdial.
I think it's just a daredevil. But luckily, Shock was able to be one step ahead of him.
By the way, credit to him.
Shock would make him pay for this and that.
Oh, he's going to break his back and make him humble.
Is that you, Sheik?
I was about to say that. Thank you for the commentary.
Camel clutch fully locked in. Now he's
my
moving into
God.
the face.
I mean,
Nice little reversal there.
I wouldn't say I would tap right there, but I'd definitely be considering it.
Big.
Considering it.
I would not. I know.
Oh, a kick to the face.
Yep. I think that's the anger right there.
There was no thigh slap in there. That was a kick legitimately
That was
to his
authentic.
face.
Havok going up.
Oh, no. Oh, a nice springboard elbow.
What a
They would get
connect.
some elevation on that one.
And we get the first
Second
counter.
attempt coming out.
Early on in the match, but Havok has the right idea. Get in there and get out.
That's correct. Havok working smart right now. He said he's been in these hardcore stipulations and it shows. He knows he's got to conserve his energy. He knows he's got to
Now that felt like it must have been a
Oh
lot
my God, what a clothesline.
inside out.
Cutting off the momentum of Havok and almost cutting off its own head.
See that
Gotta
power that went into it.
On that one.
Oh my God.
This
See,
match-
You see it here.
see
boy.
the difference? How Havok goes for the weapon style. Shock is over here doing the technical, wearing down his opponent. Uh-oh.
Overarm strike coming out and an elbow drop.
Another count here in the match.
Good attempt. And a kick out at 2. Shock playing that wear down game to good effect.
And this is tonight's main event. There is a reason why this is the main event. We have the hardcore specialist, Stefan Havok. We have one of the best technical wrestlers from New York. Oh my God, right into the barbed wire chair.
Yep, that
Oh,
hurts.
that's
Still hung up there.
One of the best technical wrestlers from New York, King Shock. This is the reason why they are the main event. And he's still caught up in that barbed wire chair.
Dude, look,
Barbed
we're not
wire
done yet.
definitely shredding the back of
Ladies and gentlemen.
Stefan Havok. These two very worthy of holding the main event spot for part 1. Without a doubt. Shock picking up the steel chair.
Uh-oh.
You can only guess what he's going to use it here. And here it
Oh,
comes.
to the back. But
Now bruise your
Shock
ribs.
is using this to his advantage. He was wearing down his Stefan's back earlier.
Oh my God, what is that? Is that?
That's a thumbtack chair that says right along with. Oh my God!
Got him.
Multiple thumbtacks has to be sticking in the back of Stefan Havok's
How are you
back.
alive after?
Get your dose of bludgeoning and slashing here. Oh, he's going to try to reveal the back now.
1, 2.
Oh, foot
Okay.
pin.
Not yet.
You know, a lot of those weird fans at home love those 1 foot pins.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, yeah.
As the cameraman said, there is
Walk away.
thumbtacks in the back of Havok.
Yep.
Havok, Shock has a nice little bag. He's asking me what type of match this is. It is a 1,000 thumbtacks match. I mean, and there we go. There's
That's 1,000 right there.
I mean, if not more.
Oh,
Oh, to the back with that thumbtack chair, I believe.
Shock took a
Yup,
while
you
setting up, and
see
he
that
feels
in
it.
his back.
now you
Oh my God.
Here in the match.
You've been on the receiving end of shots like that. How does it feel having those
Swinging-
thumbtacks just piercing your
Swinging
back?
neck break.
Definitely is not a good feeling. And both these guys just swimming in thumbtacks.
Oh,
Nice big
Oh.
by Stefan Havok.
Nice little reversal.
in attempt right on those thumbtacks. Good feel for the ref.
I think I pulled one out of my neck.
King Shock is not going to go down that easily, though. You got to think, too, as I was mentioning before.
How about that kick?
what a high kick! Did you see that?
That kick.
Oh my!
Shock trying to pull up those dozens of thumbtacks out of his back.
Oh,
These two have to contest with so much in this match. Thumbtacks take up space to operate
Oh
in.
my God. What is
but
that?
I don't think he's connected.
Uh-oh.
Trying to put this thing to an end.
Oh, no.
Trying to put this thing to an end.
Oh,
Oh my God! Right on 1,000 thumbtacks. Shock the one to introduce him, and now it's not paying off in his favor.
Must
no! And you look at Stefan Havok. He is sitting in thumbtacks and not even flinching. He's
He's
fine
got-
with it.
I don't know
He's
how
in his
you're
element, ain't he?
Look at Shock.
normally.
His reaction to moving around in those
I don't
thumbtacks.
know.
there is a complete difference in these men's style of wrestling.
Absolutely.
Oh, drop kick.
Look at
Oh, sending him out of the ring into the crowd. Now everybody is running away from the control.
A real
It's like Stefan Havok doesn't even recognize or register factor in thumbtacks.
between Stefan Havok.
He'll use every part
How
of
about
it.
this? Oh my
Guy
God!
coming out. Oh,
A lot of and his
That
leg
was
is caught
definitely
in
almost
the
a
ropes.
show like years ago, and everybody with that KO.
It seems like a lot of these high-flying spots in these matches.
I mean, you can
oh.
see Leonidas. I don't blame him for standing up. Look at this, ladies.
And it's just playing perfectly into Shock, who's taking advantage of that.
It's all legal too. The ref can't do anything to help Havok. Obviously, you have to.
No, there's nothing you can do
You
here.
have to get him down eventually, which Shock does.
Exactly.
Oh no. Shock's going to give him a taste of his own medicine, ain't he? Here we go.
Oh, look what's going to happen here. Oh, my goodness.
Oh my God!
When I saw
Hook,
that,
line, and sinker, and he nails Havok with the dive. That was a reckless
I
dive.
mean, that was
Mid-flight, you can hear King Shock regret his dive. However, this is what it means to everybody a part of this tournament.
Put it all on the line.
First ever winner of this hardcore tournament called Pride. This is pretty much to prove who is the best wrestler in this community that showed up.
And
Havok trying to pin Shock on that bed of thumbtacks, too.
Because you thought you had
Look at Havok. He's just sitting in thumbtacks, completely fine.
Yep, re-administering the dose of thumbtacks, keeping the adrenaline pouring out. Both men putting on a hell of a match in the main event of Riot in the Ring.
Main event worthy. Copper
Part 1, round 1. Up goes Havok.
This is not a good
Oh, no.
Oh, Havok trying to get out. Oh my God!
Counters it into a DDT.
Stefan Havok.
Play on thumbtacks as well. It's hard to see with this camera angle, but I would not be surprised.
Those thumbtacks got to be everywhere in this
I don't
ring.
know how you're not all
They've had it in their back.
I don't
They
know how
brushed it
you're
off their back.
standing.
I wouldn't be surprised if he went head first into a bed of tacks.
Giving us
Unfortunately for Havok, Shock kicked out at 2.
we see him here now.
Looks like
trying to figure
Havok
it all
has
out.
something planned.
There's something coming.
Camera had a quick glimpse of it.
What is that?
There
What is that?
broken glass, broken beer bottles
Oh my God.
on this piece of wood. If thumbtacks,
Classy.
barbed wire, steel chairs
Here we go.
wasn't bad enough,
You want to follow
there is a
AEW
broken
to the
glass.
ring and
This could decide the
look
match.
at
Someone
here.
might
Oh my God.
Shock reading the situation, knows he's going to do something.
My God. Oh my God. That could cut an artery. This could be over.
Look away.
Five rounds of broken glass.
1, 2, 3.
Mercifully.
That is 3. That is all for Havok. But back to our
What a
point
hell of a
earlier,
match. I mean, just,
Shock has to advance to round 2 now. He just spent a lot of energy
I mean, you
and
just
took a lot of a beating during this match.
I mean,
You're seemingly as surprised as I am at the last sequence
we see
events.
it here,
Wow.
and I don't know what
These men beat the hell out of each other. They broke out thumbtacks. They wanted to put each other to an end.
Shock proved that he could hang in the hardcore style, and he did.
Oh, he did.
And now for that, he's rewarded on advancing to
Working
round
Shock,
2.
and I
Props
definitely
to Havok.
thought that was Stefan Havok.
Yes,
100% props to Havok.
Hopefully, we do see Stefan Havok here in the future.
Yep, in Shock.
But
Also,
congratulations to Shock.
Entertainment. Definitely check them out. And we have this off the screen. Let's take this off, but let's also give you a plug shortly because you're on YouTube. And nope, that's the wrong one. Okay, we'll come back to that. You're here. Okay, so let's get some reactions first before we come back to plugs. I mean, first of all, how are you alive afterwards?
It's what I do, man. It's what I do.
I'm
Did not expect him to take the hardcore match to me. If you watch that match, he implements hardcore into that match. I do not.
well. Tell me your thoughts on this. I think that the first few minutes of the match opens up like a wrestling match, probably his style, right? The
For
second half, let's say, let's break it down into fours, right? The match was about 10 minutes, about give or take about 10 minutes.
Okay.
So let's say the first couple of minutes was kind of his style, right? The second 2 to 3 minutes, you start to get your kind of feet under you. Then then where it really kind of goes back and forth. And then he sort of implements things that says, you know what, he maybe gets comfortable in it. Maybe he adjusts to his elements, and maybe you brought something out of him that he didn't have otherwise. I mean, talk to me about your thoughts, because I kind of felt like in a way the match was broken down into 4
He
parts.
didn't seem comfortable, but he definitely was using it because I think he knew that he had to.
Well, he had no choice but to win the match. I mean, you're quote to quote home. You're home. You're home in this. I know you. I know what you bring to the table. I have watched you in RWA. I know your career. You've been here on this platform. I've known you before almost any other yarder out there, with a handful of exceptions. So I know what your capabilities are. But in order for him as a veteran, he has to try to adjust to his set. If he doesn't adjust, he's not going to go anywhere in that match, and you're going to take the offense to him. And, he was able to hang in there and found a way with that move to put you away and get the 3 count.
And honestly, that's what I wanted. That's all I wanted. I said right from the start, I wasn't there to win the riot.
No, and listen, you said it here, and I suppose, you must be a prophet. You must be a prophet, because that match was pretty much what you said. You said, you didn't win, but if I were to tell you that without winning, you actually won, what would you say to that?
I mean, I somewhat feel the same way. I added an implement of violence that needed to happen. I brought out something in somebody that I feel like needed to happen a long time ago. NEW opened the door, and they didn't shut it. So.
I think based on the commentary, there was no doors that were shut. But, you certainly proved a point that you did things in this match, and you took a guy, and in a lot of ways, maybe you gave him a shock, and more of a shock than he could have expected. He may call himself a king, but he ain't an icon.
I wouldn't mind, getting his attention again, seeing what.
Let me ask you a question. So after the match, you get the 3 count. He sort of looks at you without saying fully. What did he say to you in that moment?
Basically, thank you.
I was basically going to wonder to say, my first thought was either, are you okay, or are you nuts? Maybe both he would have said, but we don't have to say fully what he said there. But I have to imagine that, even though I'm sure he studied tapes, he knew who you were, but that was a match that, could shorten careers. Listen, and the commentary team, which is obviously, we know who they are, we're kind of like, you were getting thrown into thumbtacks. Your body was landing on thumbtacks. Your body was taking all these things, and you were just almost like acting as if it never happened. We have guys come on here all the time.
That's what you gotta do. Like that's what you gotta do. Like, if the ring is covered in glass, covered in tacks, covered in bullshit, whatever, you can't focus on that. You got to just focus on what you're doing, man. You got to stay in the match.
Did you have
if you're in the head of somebody else because all that stuff's laid out, that's amazing, because it's definitely not in mine.
Did you have an adrenaline kind of going through that match, because you're in this big crowd, you're on this big stage? It's probably one of the biggest stages you've been in your career. It's one of the most, I think, unique spectacles. I think it's the greatest spectacle in underground wrestling history. Were you kind of getting maybe an adrenaline? Also, you're in the main event as well.
That's literally why I do it. It's the adrenaline for sure. It's the love of wrestling, the community, everything about it. But when you're in the middle of the ring, man, there's just I can do things that I can't do. I do things that I can't do, in a normal setting, I surprise myself in there, I don't know.
But you also showed some wrestling ability in that match as well. We know you from the super kick, but you did some other things in that match too that
we went into that match polar opposites. I went
absolutely, 100%, 110%.
But I went in that match thinking that I was gonna wrestle him. I was gonna I was going to wrestle him. And he went in that match knowing that it was going to be hardcore. So, like, honestly, I was going to like be that guy where I wrestled, technically got him, you know? And he knew that, like, he had to push that envelope or whatever. Yeah, you see me get really comfortable when that is added to the match. I feel very much at home. But he was still like a good wrestler on top of it all, you know?
Oh,
Like,
I mean, listen, I mean, look at it. You know, he looked like a pro wrestler. King Shock, he was in great shape. He moved great in the ring. I mean, there's a lot of guys that come on this platform and you look at them and say pretty much what's been said here. But he looked great out there. I mean, like, how hard did his punches connect? I mean, how about the one spot where he punches you? I mean,
oh, we beat the hell out of each other. Are you kidding?
dude, but that one spot where he just punches you. I mean, that was like a Big Show punch in his prime. I mean, I don't know how you even got up after. I know you're gonna say, "Yeah, I get up. I'm used to it," but you know, normal people don't. Even wrestlers don't get up from things like that.
No, he came at me hard for sure. Like, you know, kick to the back of the head that rocked me. I knew that F5 was his go-to. I honestly didn't expect it. Like the second time, like I said, I got real greedy. I just wanted to keep hurting, keep pushing stuff. Like I said, I got comfortable out there. He wanted it to be hardcore. I was going to show him. As soon as he saw that glass, he was like, nope, F that, I'm done. Which is kudos to him, you know?
Let me ask you though. You said something as we hear with Stefan Havok. Of course, Stefan Havok is the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Your voice of figuratively and literally all wrestling matters. You can follow Home Backyard Wrestling, their House of Misfits Entertainment, and those links below. That's their Instagram. They're also on YouTube as well. And we'll be back on in an hour or so, a little more than that, with Big Tex, who's here. We say, how you doing, Big Tex? It's nice to see you. He's over in the great state of Maryland. But, you know, I want to go back to something you said. You talked about the fact that you went into it expecting a wrestling match, and you went in there. Was that a mistake on your part in terms of how you went about it? Or talk to me to why you said that.
I kind of knew that we were going to layer that match. I knew that it was going to be a mesh of both styles for sure. Like me thinking that he can't hang in hardcore and him thinking that I can't hang technically was like exact. We weren't there because we both knew that the other could do that.
Yeah, but I think that's what also made the match as well as it was because, you know, again, people on this card like Doc Holliday. I mean, Doc Holliday is a legend. People know what to expect from Doc Holliday. There are guys we're going to see in the next part of round one, which will be, by the way, this Friday, right, Jake? This Friday, 6 o'clock, NEW Underground Wrestling on YouTube. Please check them out. They're close to 2,000 subscribers. Let's get them to 2,000. Do you like win an award, by the way, if you get to 2,000 subscribers for those that have 2,000 on YouTube or get to? Do they give you like any extra milestones? But different conversation for different time. But the point is that, you know, I think in a match like this that it meshed so well because you guys were two different styles. I think that's what brings the best out in everybody. Because again, you know, there were guys that wrestled the same style. Maybe they didn't know each other, but I think this is what made the match as well as it was. You know, you bring the thumbs tacks out. You obviously have the spot where you go out there and you get hit. Then you hit him back on the mat. He takes the big shot. And then you have the ending of the match. Then you have another match, you know, with the almost like the swinging neck breaker. And there's like a whole list. It was a real back and forth match. I mean, that's what I kind of go back to and say, Stefan Havok, that even though you didn't win, you did kind of win because you basically you were on this platform. I don't know what it was, almost 2 months ago, right? Whatever it was. And you basically said exactly what you intended to do. Guys come in all the time and say, yeah, I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Then you watch them in the ring and you're like, well, they're the ones who figuratively might be the riot because I'm having a riot laughing at their abilities. But you literally went out and said exactly to a T what you were going to do. I mean, I think that's almost like you called your own shot.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of calling my own shots and open doors, I'm welcome to keep going back to NEW. And I plan on it, and I plan on it for a good reason. I want their hardcore championship because you know why? It just suits me. I want to go there. I want to piss off some people. I want to create some havoc. So it's not going to be right away.
No.
Definitely not going to be right away, but eventually you're definitely going to start seeing some havoc over there because I am going back. The door's open and I'm going to enter it.
So you're coming back
for sure.
to NEW.
For sure. 100%.
And you do realize you talked about the hardcore championship, right? And their hardcore champion is Rhea Silver. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Rhea Silver and you've got a chance to see Rhea Silver. And Rhea Silver is somebody that doesn't go down and doesn't go down without swinging. Rhea Silver has proved that she's as good as anybody out there in any ring for any promotion. And is that somebody that you're targeting? Because you did mention the hardcore championship, and that's the current hardcore champion. I mean, what is your thoughts on that?
Who knows who will be the hardcore champion at that time?
That's true too, but I mean, she's the current champion.
You know what?
Naturally, I have to mention her as the champion.
And you know
right?
what? I'm sure I got some hurdles to cross. I'm sure I don't just get to come right in and, you know what I mean?
Pull your own shot and decide that you're coming in here. And,
and you know what? Give me hurdles. Give me bullshit matches. Make me prove myself.
Bullshit matches? Nah. You're Stefan Havok. You're an icon. There can't be no BS.
That's why I'm going there. Because I have my eye on something.
You do?
I want to hold that hardcore championship and when I do hold it.
Would that be the icing on the cake in your career?
No, I'm inspired by the Riot. I'm inspired by it because with that on my shoulder, I will hopefully, with their permission, have that door wide open where anybody from anywhere can come in and give me a shot. That's what I want. That's what I want for me. That's what I want for NEW. So that's why I'm going through that door with hopes that happens. If it doesn't, if it doesn't happen, that's on me.
So you really just basically said
those are my goals.
Not only are you going through the door, you're entering it and taking the door with you to anywhere and wrestling anybody. I mean, that's pretty bold. That's really forward thinking. I mean, boy, Stefan Havok, you really, like I said to introduce you earlier today, not only are you causing a riot, you're causing some real havoc, and you might even cause a havoc and a riot for the entire wrestling community because you want to come back to NEW. Not only do you want to come back there, but you want to come back there and take their hardcore championship and take it all over the place. I mean,
bring them to them. I don't even need to take it anywhere. Let's open the door. Let's have people come to them. Let's have all these people just keep coming to them.
You know what? I agree with you. You know what? I'm glad you said that because, sure, there was a lot of promotions, right, at the Riot in the Ring. You got a chance to meet people that you would have otherwise never met. But you know what? There's a lot of other places that come on this platform, and maybe they should venture to the great state of Massachusetts. I mean, there's a lot of names I could think of, a lot of names and a lot of companies all over the place. I mean, let's take a step back for a second. If GTS had not one but two of their talents technically compete in the Riot in the Ring, and they're the 7th biggest wrestling promotion in the world. So shouldn't that mean companies like WCE, companies like IMF, and they certainly know Jake Matthews and his company pretty well, companies like DKW, companies like DBW, Big Texas coming on in, they ain't far away. I would say companies like XCW, VTW, TBW, ROEW in Michigan, OMW, CBW. I mean, this is no knock on any company. I'm just rattling off the list of companies that come on this platform that I know of. ALW, Legendary Backyard Wrestling, all of yous. And you know what? There's independent wrestling companies. Maybe you should join too. Was there Amplified Wrestling, Enterprise Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Magic? I mean, there's Warriors of Wrestling here on Staten Island. I mean, almost any promotions out there, the doors are open. There's Breakout Wrestling, Breakpoint Wrestling. There's CMW. There's BYCW. I mean, we know Resurrection's on the team already in NEW. I mean, I can just keep going. ALW is here. I mean, AWL. AWL's in Alabama. If there's a will and a way, I mean, technically, D'Angelo the Flame sort of represents them. I guess that counts. But the point is that there's countless promotions. And this year was what, 15? 15 that were there? Why not 20 next time? 25, 30?
Why not?
Why don't we make this almost like a convention? Why don't we make this almost like a week-long event, not just one day? Let's have it 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Why not? I mean, isn't that what the spirit of wrestling is about? I mean, all wrestling matters. I mean, we're doing Summer Bash, right? July 5th to July 7th. But why not make Riot in the Ring the greatest underground spectacle every single year? Why not make the Riot in the Ring where it's not just one day, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 days? I mean, listen, IWA. How about the boys from IWA Deep South? How about them? Can't they play into it? I mean, if there's a will and a way, let's make it a Riot. Let's cause some havoc. And let's really make this event an iconic one that people will remember till the end of time.
For sure. No, I agree. And if it is annual, and I believe it is, you bet your ass that I'm going to be in it next year. And I'm going to be in there with different...
Well, I want to see more names. You know what? It was a deep roster to begin with.
Sure.
But
a lot of names that ducked out, I'd like to see try to like maybe show up and commit. A lot of names that weren't involved at all, I'd like to see there.
I agree with you. There was a couple of names. Unfortunately, there was 2 names in particular, which I think you might be referring to, but more of in a friendly way. There was 2 names that one actually shares kind of a specialty that you do in the ring, which is hardcore. And there was another one that's Obey, and obviously scheduling does happen, but I would love to see it where it's such a spectacle that those guys could show up. You know what? I would love to see Hardcore be a part of this next year. I would love to see Obey. How about Mikey Anarchy? You know, how about the likes of Jimmy freaking Controversy? How about Mac 10? I'll ask Mac 10. You know, how about the likes of Kato? How about the likes of Brian White? I mean, why not just keep going? Let's just have as many people as possible that could be out there and compete in this. I mean, to me, you had TF Crew was there. UWF was there. I mean, it's a long list of promotions that were there. Why not open it up to where we could see the very best of the best?
I mean,
how about Masada? You know what? I'll even go out there. Why not Masada one? Maybe Masada's out there. Judge Joe Dredd. I mean, we can't stop, right? I mean, why just keep going? Atomic. How about Atomic Titan? He's my hardcore king. How about the Atomic Titan? You know, the Atomic Titan's running through everybody in TBW. How about he comes down to NEW? He knows Jake Matthews. How about it? Listen, anybody should be out there for the Riot in the Ring. It's the greatest spectacle around. I mean, think about how many promotions were there, right? Why not have another 15? Why not have another 20? I mean, to me, it shouldn't just be one day. I think the Riot in the Ring should be as many as 3 and 4 days. What does the audience think about that? We got more people tuning in now because I opened up my big fat mouth. Well, I'm not really fat. I'm actually in pretty good shape. But the facts are that, yeah, everybody wants to show up until time is to show up. And that's why it's card subject to change. But you know, at the end of the day, I think there's plenty of wrestlers that would love to prove their talents here. You know, what about guys that come on this platform like Aaron Blaze, the headline, the main event, Aaron Blaze? He ain't too far away from Massachusetts. What about Anthony Steele? I'm sure you heard of Anthony Steele, right? Everybody knows Anthony Steele. Why don't we see some of the best talents out there that could go out there and prove their skills if there's a will and a way? Obviously, logistics. I agree. Logistics are a big part of it. How about Chase Wakefield, who's in the chat? My good old friend Chase Wakefield. He ain't too far away. I mean, it doesn't have to be just hardcore wrestlers. To me, there are great talents from all over the place that are in the Riot in the Ring. This is just basically an old school, no frills tournament. Like I said, to introduce you into the Hall of Fame of just people going out in the playground, having a good time and seeing who's the best. And you come back the next day and say, good game, and see you next time on the court. And I think that's, to me, why the Riot in the Ring is breaking down so many doors.
No, I 100% agree with that. And I believe that's 100% the intention, is just to open the doors, to let everybody in, to, you know, I believe that they laid down a really great foundation for something that, you know, is going to grow and grow.
I think it's such a cool thing. I really do, because you know what? You're You talked about doors being open, but it gives people opportunities that, we would never get to see these matches. And it also, I think it builds collaboration. I've been talking about all wrestling matters, right, this year. It's collaboration, open collaboration, giving people an opportunity that otherwise would not have. And it also, if I'm a company out there, right, and I get a chance to put my company, like we saw, King Shock's promotion, right? We talked about TF Crew. We talked about UW. How about Resurrection Wrestling all the way in Tennessee? It doesn't matter. AWL, you want to technically count them because D'Angelo the Flame represents them, go for it. But the point is that why wouldn't I not want to be showcased on something like this? Because it's opening up your company, your fans, to maybe get some new exposure, and you get to see NEW's talents, and maybe you want to join them, and that's what it's all about. We're all in it together. We all win. So to me, the way I see it, this event, I think every company should want to be in this because you're going to expose yourself to new fans, new subs, new talents, and conversely, it's the other way around. So to me, I think this is the way it should be, honestly. This is what should be setting this. I think this and Summer Bash should be an annual thing. And I'm not just saying it because I'm supporting both. I'm saying it because that's what I believe. And there's a thing called the Backyard Wrestling Nexus. I support that too because that's about collaboration. It doesn't matter what you like or not like in any of these things, any of these events respectively. It's about giving people an opportunity that would not have otherwise had those opportunities. So I'm all for it. And I think that, to me, the Riot in the Ring, I hope that you're back in it. And I hope there's like 15 more companies next year in it.
Same. Definitely agree with that. I hope it's bigger. I hope, like I said, if I am in it next year, my intentions are going to be a little different.
Well, how different will they be?
Well,
to win, obviously, to win a match, right?
Well, I wasn't planning on, going through all that on that day. I think that, I think in a ways, I have a lot more to prove because of that, because my head wasn't really into the win game. It was more to the test my opponent game, but there's nothing like getting scraped up in a match, brushing yourself off and getting ready for the next one. And that's what I need. I really do. So, yeah.
Did it change your expectations? Did it exceed your expectations, what you participated in, or no?
Instantly I regretted that I wasn't still involved after it was done, for sure, for me. You know what I mean? I just feel like that the deeper it got, the more aggressive it was getting, and that would have suited my needs. And
yeah, because you were one of these guys we spoke about was like a wild card in this. We spoke about promoting and talking about the tournament. Like everybody was like LaFlame. Well, I know LaFlame. I see him in TBW. Yeah, he wrestled in TBW. He doesn't wrestle that style. But you were one of the guys, conversely, that was like, yeah, you know what? I know him. I know his style. He's a guy I would keep an eye. Doc Holliday and Gabe Sayers are in it. Those guys have made a name for themselves in that field. You had guys, Jake Matthews, everybody knows him, Justin Abel saying the power surge. I mean, the guy is literally, he's as big as a power surge. I can keep going in names, but you were one of these guys. This was you were like an under the radar kind of name that could go really far in this. And that's why maybe if there was, one, which I think there'll be many more of these ahead, that, next time out, not only maybe you win a match and maybe, win something that could really be an icing on the cake on your career.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I went out there to prove myself, and I did that. I went out there to, make some contacts, and I did that. So, like I said, on paper, it's a loss, but in my head, it'll always be a win.
No, I think you won because, first of all, you went out there, and this is where you can watch the Riot in the Ring. They have almost 2,000 subscribers. They're only a few away. So if you're out here for the first time, hit the sub button.
Hit that
sub button. They're almost there. Do they get an award for 2,000 subscribers? Can somebody tell me, do you get something for 2,000? But nevertheless, go out and support NEW. These guys are doing it the way it should be. Old school, no frills, no politics. Get out there. No more of the same old wrestling, the same old matches. They're going right to the point. Please go out there and support them. But I mean, you made all these contacts, but you got to be wanting more right now. I mean, I know you said you want to come back. The door is open, but I mean, you must be longing to be out there once again because it's already now. It's been a few days.
Yeah. I mean, I got some things lined up for sure.
Is there anything outside of NEW that we might see you in at the moment?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
But I do feel like that there are doors opening, or they could be opening. So there's nothing yet, but there could be potentially later on there.
What was it like networking with all these people? I mean, I know a lot of people will say, "Yeah, I see you on Sportswire. Yeah, I see you in a chat." But to like meet a lot of these people like up close for the first time, what was that like?
I mean, they're all great. They're all great people. I like I said, it was just such a great atmosphere. NEW has like such a family atmosphere. It really does. And it wasn't like awkward with a bunch of people that were from different, you know what I mean? It just everybody felt comfortable. Everybody felt like, you know what I mean? They knew why they were there. They knew the purpose. Everybody was pretty professional. You know, it was, like I said, it was like a really, really great experience to go out there and do that.
Well, I hope you get a chance to do it again. And let me get to some comments here for the audience. And Chase Wakefield, hello. Nice to see you, Chase. Chase is actually in your chair this coming Saturday night. I think he's here at, was it 9:30, Chase? I think 9:30 Eastern time. Craven Rage, obviously, I'm sure you know Craven Rage from these shows. He does say congratulations. He supports the cause. I believe Craven Rage is actually wrestling in Summer Bash upcoming, so maybe we'll see Craven Rage next year at the Riot in the Ring. Maybe he'll travel to Massachusetts from Wisconsin. I mean, who knows? Maybe he and D'Angelo the Flame will be traveling on the road together. I don't know. I guess, right? Is Wisconsin on the way to Massachusetts from Tennessee? I would think so, right? Also, Big Tex. Yeah, no, I'm definitely not minding you. And also, to alert the audience, Big Tex will be here probably about 45 minutes. Now, we're going to wrap up here in about 10 or 15 minutes. We're going to take a little bit of an interval, and Big Tex will be here. So if you want to hear Big Tex, the big man of DBW, he'll be here in about, I'd say about 9:15 or so. So about 9:15. So thank you, Big Tex, and looking forward to seeing you, bud. And I think D Savage, I think you pretty much summed up what I think, and bring them all in, you know, and let me get to Jake Matthews. The door is always open and will remain open. I say mostly just about anyone is welcome to NEW at any point. I mean, there might be a select few who we wouldn't allow here for different reasons. I kind of think who I might know some of them, and I think that's pretty much self-explanatory, but I'm going to move away from that. But also, he does want to point out whoever wants to come to NEW and is actually serious, yes, there's no question that there are some names that I think would make excellent candidates. And I think it speaks volumes, too. D'Angelo the Flame was here before I let you go. You know, D'Angelo the Flame, you know, is kind of like the guy everybody's talking about in the yard and the underground. He actually now has a tryout for TNA Impact Wrestling in NWA, and he wrestled on this show. And I think that that's also speak volumes. You know, Doc Holliday, Gabe Sayers, they're on GTS programming. I mean, to have those three names here, I think it speaks a lot of volumes, honestly.
No, I agree that it's a big deal for them to do that.
Have you met Doc Holliday before? Was that the first time you met him?
I met him at a WZW show briefly. That was the most interaction that I've had with him. I would love to be in a match with him.
Oh my God. And
he's have magic for sure, but
you guys are so similar in a lot of ways. And that's actually, you know, one person I really want to get on this platform is Doc Holliday. That's the guy I'm dying to get. You know, I usually don't reach out to people at this point to come on, but I have let it known to the world. And Gabe has said, yeah, I got you. But Doc Holliday, I mean, I would love to have Doc Holliday on this platform. I think Doc Holliday would be one of the guys, and I would love to see. You know, I think you and Doc Holliday would be a great match. I really think that would be a lot of synergy there, probably a lot of similarities in how you guys view the world of wrestling. I think that would be really, you know, I'd love to see that. I hope that whoever the powers may be can make that happen. You know.
No, I agree. I think that would be a great match. Gabe Sayers, even him, I would love to have a match with him.
I think you and Gabe have a lot of the same similarities in terms of how you see things from a mind standpoint. I think you and him, from a creative standpoint, I think very similar. I think that would be another great opponent. I mean, Christopher Black was, I believe, your referee. How about you and Christopher Black? Another name, right? Christopher Black. I mean, that's a name I would love to see out there. Well, there's a lot of guys, a lot of great guys. You should support NEW. I mean, they're killing it out there. I can't say it enough. What that company, and they're here right now, what they mean to us in the community. So please support them. I want to ask you 2 more questions before closing thoughts. So obviously you've said that you'd like to be back in NEW, but what are your goals then otherwise then for the rest of the year? What would you say? Are there any other goals you have ahead?
I think I'm going to stay focused on what I'm planning on doing over there in NEW. If other opportunities, happen, I'll see if, they meet my scheduling needs. I have a very complicated scheduling.
Yeah, I know. We spoke about it before. We know we spoke about it.
But no, I think I'm gonna stick to my guns. I think I'm gonna go out there. I have my intentions are, they're pretty well known now that I spoke up. So we'll see how that all goes,
Absolutely. If you want to follow Stefan, please support him on Instagram as well. Check him out. He's also on YouTube. We're also here on the Promo Wrestling Federation YouTube page. If you haven't yet followed us, we're on Instagram as well at PWF_network. But check out Stefan Havok. He's definitely a riot, and he will cause a lot more havoc in the future. So please support him. Let me ask you one more question before I get to closing thoughts. And obviously, we're so happy to have you here, and I hope I can get you back the next time you return to the ring, because you're saying you will be back at some point, but we'll certainly have to find out when. But what would you want to say to anybody out there that got a chance to watch you in the riot in the ring? What would you like to say to anybody out there who saw you on Friday's main event?
I mean, as far as what context, just
anything possible. Just could be whatever you'd like to imagine. Just for anybody who watched you, whether it was those in the locker room, those like me that watched it on YouTube, that may have even watched you for the first time, fans of yours, whatever it is. What would you like to?
Oh, there's absolutely more. There's way more that I can do in the ring for sure. So they think that was the peak, that they're crazy that I was just getting going there, But anybody that wants to wrestle or thinks about wrestling and they're not sure how or whatever, they just need to reach out and just try, just reach out. There's a lot of people that are more understanding than you think, especially in the yard sense.
Yep.
Yard's taking kids all the time that just have that love. If you have that love for it, that's all. Really, anybody that sees me wrestling, I might wrestle a certain style and stuff, but
I love that style, and I think that's what we've done here. We embrace it. To me, I think that's what we're about. We're embracing everything here, because I think that I say it all the time. Hardcore wrestlers, to me, they are so much more talented than people give them thought. I just think, to me, it's a science. I mean, everybody thinks about, Okada, Ospreay, Danielson. But to me, I think what guys like you do and so many others that were in the riot in the ring, I mean, do it that in many ways are just as good. I mean, if not better in some cases. That's why, to me, it's, listen, go to the right places. Stefan Havok is one of the right guys. Jake Matthews and the rest of the NEW boys and gals are certainly also the right place to go to. There's a lot of other places. Decide for yourself. Come down here to us on Sportswire Radio and find out more of it. We're on YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579. This is Stefan Havok. He has definitely shown that he's an icon, and he's going to be memorable. I have no doubt for sure. And speaking of people that would like to say here, and while we're going to end on the first interval and come back in about 40 minutes or so, Omen, for big text of DBW, but he is Mr. Omen Black. He's also a hardcore god, and he's going to be wrestling at Summer Bash. I know, obviously, the schedules are what they are, but he does say here, and maybe one day we'll see him next year in the riot in the ring, and maybe you'll wrestle him. Who knows? You just never know what could happen out there in the ring.
Yeah, you never know. You really never know. I mean, people traveled many, many hours to get to that yard. So
look at LaFlame. Look at what he's traveled. Omen and Soldier have done it. They've traveled to Michigan. They've traveled to Indiana. They've traveled to Wisconsin. I mean, these guys do it. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Jake has traveled before. D Savage and Power Surge travel. I mean, there's a lot of great people. Gabe Sayers has traveled. I mean, so there's a lot of guys that have put the work in, and I have no doubt that Stefan Havok is going to be showing us more work ahead. He is our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, the 79th one, the 9th member of the 8th class, and the first New York wrestler officially in the Hall of Fame. So a pretty cool feat there. And also, happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Happy Father's Day to you, Stefan. Happy Father's Day to you, Mr. Omen Black. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. They're going to tune into this here in Sportswire Radio. So please support those that are out there. If you don't have a dad or you do have a dad, happy Father's Day, whatever you are, wherever you are, and have a wonderful day. And I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope we gave you something to enjoy here, because we have more coverage ahead in about 40 or so minutes with Big Tex, the big man of DBW. But until then, my friend, I want to give you the floor. Want to give you some closing thoughts. I know you're going to be back here, hopefully sooner, maybe quicker than a New York Minute. Who knows, maybe longer than a New York Minute. But until then, I want to give you the floor, and the floor is yours, and be my guest.
I just appreciate you for having me tonight. Thank you for the induction. That's pretty awesome. I had fun watching the match.
That was cool. I like doing the more watch-alongs. We've been doing a lot of them lately. Guys really seem to like them.
That's fun. That's fun.
I kind of got the idea, if you're a football fan out there, they do the Manning cast, like Peyton and Eli Manning. They'll watch the game and they'll bring somebody in. They talk about it. And I've kind of, we've been doing a lot of them lately. I think Omen, we did a couple of Omen's matches. We did Jack Delta, a few of his matches. We did Alan Michaels on Friday. Yesterday, we did CJ versus Jack Delta, James Taylor, Anthony Steele. So we're doing a lot of them. I think I'm going to be doing one in a little while. Van Hansen, we did one Monday. So Big Tex, we're going to watch one of his matches. I think the watch-alongs are cool because it's just a different thing. I think on Sportswire, this, you've seen the platform really change. If anybody who has seen Sportswire change, it would be you, because you've been here 3 times. So, but I think it's changed so dramatically is that this isn't just a podcast. We try to reimagine everything. We have the lighting, we have the logo, the website, the share my screen. So, I'm always trying to give people different things. I think that's why Sportswire has been, I think really the only platform where you get all wrestling matters and all everything. To me, Sportswire is like going to an event. Huge. I'm really looking forward to seeing you here soon. And congratulations. I'm looking forward to more things ahead. I'm looking forward to the rest of the Riot in the Ring. We have more Riot in the Ring coverage coming up next week, because we have D Savage. He's going to be here next Wednesday, the 26th, and he's going to be here apparently with D'Angelo the Flame, the Real Raw Energy. And then the next day, we have Jake Matthews and Power Surge together. So, boy, I don't even know if basically Sportswire is going to exist with all the power we're going to get from D Savage, D'Angelo the Flame, Jake Matthews, and Power Surge between the 4 of them. But I know we're going to certainly try. And Stefan Havok, please follow him on Instagram, Havok Icon. Also want to thank House of Misfits Entertainment for granting us access to the coverage. I also want to thank NEW Underground Wrestling. Please support them. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally for all wrestling matters. If you are on all of our platforms, I will be back here at about 9:15 with Big Tex of DBW. So go out and go to the restroom, watch the NBA Finals, and Omen Black says he'll be in NEW. I hope it's going to be in NEW sooner rather than later. And yeah, Omen Black versus Jake Matthews would be a great match, and hopefully I could sponsor that match. Because, by the way, I got to mention one more thing. I am actually a sponsor of NEW. I forgot to mention this. I actually subscribe to the Patreon page. I am actually a subscriber, so hopefully that helps the company. In addition to getting the tattoo, actually the most important part is, Stefan, I'm a paid subscriber to NEW, so hopefully in a small little way I could help the company keep going. I hope. I mean, I might kill them more than I help them, but hopefully that hopes it goes a long way in you coming back. But thank you, everybody. And until then, hang on tight. And please support Stefan Havok and our friends at NEW. And again, we'll be back here in a little while with Big Tex of DBW. But until then, I will see everybody in a little while, and enjoy the rest of the break.